In this lecture, we're going to create a route for individual song pages. This is where route parameters will come in handy. We want to be able to store the ID in the URL. The router can store and retrieve the values in the URL if we need to use them in the application. In the resource section of this lecture, I provide a link to the Dynamic-Route-Matchmaking documentation page. You will learn about how path parameters work in the View router in detail. One part of the documentation page that I want you to look at is this example table. In a nutshell, this is how dynamic paths work. You can set dynamic segments in a path by adding a colon before the name. The router will pick up on this. It'll allow for any value to be used for this segment. In the second column are examples of paths that match the route. If there's a match, the router will assign the dynamic segments to the route.params object. The third column will show what the object will look like. The name of the key is the name you passed in after the colon in the dynamic segment of the path. The value would be what was inputted in the segment. There's a second example showing how you would create multiple dynamic segments. Let's begin creating our first dynamic route. In your editor, open the router file. We'll register the record first. In the routes array, add a new object. We're going to add it below the other routes. We're going to assign the route the name song. We'll set the path property to /song/:ID. The colon is very important. That'll tell the router that the segment can be dynamic. We're going to give the dynamic segment the name of ID. We're going to assign this to a component called song. The component directory currently doesn't exist. Let's create it inside the views directory. The name of the file will be song.view. Next, we can import the component into the router file. The path to the component is @/views/song.view. We're going to test this in a moment. First, let's see if we can retrieve the dynamic path. Switch to the component we created. Inside it, we'll scaffold the template and script blocks. The component should have a name. We'll assign the name property in the component to song. Next, we'll render the ID in the path. Inside the template block, add a pair of div tags. Inside of the div tags, add the expression route.params.id. The params object will hold the dynamic segments in the route. From this, we can access the values by the names we assigned in the path property. We're grabbing the ID in this instance. Let's test the route in the browser. Inside the address bar, type in the path song/. The value for the ID can be anything. It can be a number or random gibberish. It should work either way. We're not enforcing a specific type of data. After visiting the path, we'll see the ID get outputted. It should be the same value you inputted into the URL. The View router was conveniently able to extract the value from the URL and place it inside an object. Let's test to see what happens if we don't input anything in the segment. We get redirected to the home page. This is because of the wildcard route we created earlier. The router couldn't find a match because we didn't provide the dynamic segments. It doesn't consider an empty value valid. Therefore, it won't load the component. It will not check for matches. We created the wildcard route to catch routes that didn't match the URL in the address bar. We programmed it to redirect the user to the home page. That works in our favor because we don't want to display an empty page if an ID wasn't provided. We're finished with creating the dynamic route. In the next lecture, we're going to create the template, grab the song data, and render it onto the page.